We're joined by David Samson. Thank you very much for coming in.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You are a clinical hypnotherapist from Harley Street.
That's correct.
Which is a big title, serious business, serious time of year for you.
Very much so. As Patrick said when he was in this chair earlier on, when it gets to around the 14th of January, that's when things start to happen.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So people have tried to stop smoking. They've tried to lose weight on their own, cold turkey, and then they call us.
Do we all need help?
Quite a few people need help. A lot of people can do it on their own, but a lot of people do need that little bit of extra help.
And why is it 2 weeks?
Because people try. They're determined that this is the year that they're going to do it on their own. So they try from the 1st of January, and it normally lasts about 2 weeks.
And for you, for someone coming through your door for the various things you can help people with, and we can get onto a few of those in a moment, is smoking the most popular one, as it were? Smoking
and weight, I find, are the most popular things, and especially this time of year, when people have their New Year's resolutions to lose weight or stop smoking.
I did used to smoke. I've never smoked hugely, so I don't know. And I used to be one of those people that said, I'm not addicted. But because I do believe you can smoke and not be addicted. I don't know what you think of that.
There are some people that can be. They just have a cigarette occasionally. There are some people like that. But
then I got into the habit. Of course, I'm the worst kind of smoker where I would smoke other people's, and then you think, well, I must buy a packet because then I've got to, offer them back. And then before you know it, you're smoking in your kitchen when you get home from the pub because you've got them. I used to sort of smoke them like sweets. Best thing that ever happened to me was no smoking in pubs. That was because I'm not going to go outside and have a cigarette. I didn't need it that much.
It's interesting that you've raised that point. The ban came in July 2007.
Yeah, I haven't smoked since then.
What do you think that had on the dynamics of social smoking?
Well, I tell you what used to annoy me, because then half my mates used to just go outside and disappear.
Exactly. But imagine sitting in a restaurant pre the ban, and there's 8 people around a table and 6 people are smoking. It's no big deal. But suddenly this ban comes in, and people have to leave the table to smoke. So the person who's the natural leader of the group stands up and says, "Okay, guys, let's go out for a cigarette." Are you going to sit there on your own, or are you going to go out and join the?
Yeah,
it's
true.
completely
and then you
changed.
feel like you're missing out on gossip.
Very much so.
Because they go outside the pub, they huddle around, and God knows what they're talking about, one person in the group that's not out there or who they fancy at the bar. And then, yes, it becomes this whole other dynamic. I don't know what's worse, but then I would smoke more if they were smoking there in front of me, because we like monkeys in that we literally copy what other people are doing.
But
someone else is putting it to their mouth. You think, that looks like a good idea.
But it's now an event. The going outside en masse is now an event.
Do you think it's worse then?
It's not that it's worse. It's just different. It's totally different, and there's pressure on some people. Some people smoke because they're lonely. Some people because they're bored. Some people because they want to. It's a social thing to smoke. So these people it's actually worse for them.
Because you're singled out even more.
Exactly. So because you're not going to sit at the table on your own when everyone else is standing outside. So it has actually become worse for those people.
But I don't know if you have any figures to hand about whether smoking is on the decrease, because I would hope that now the majority of people would be at the table, and it would be the smokers that would be in the minority that would go outside.
I don't have those figures on me, but my gut feel is that smoking is on the decrease, but it has changed the dynamics.
So what can people do about it when they come to you?
First of all, people need to want to stop smoking. You can't just, whatever method of stopping smoking you use, whether it's nicotine replacement or if it's cold turkey or acupuncture or hypnosis, there has to be a desire there to actually stop in the first place. So before I actually see anybody, I do question them. I do consult first just to see if they really do want to stop smoking. And that's an important part of the actual process.
Mm-hmm. What, and it's not just their partner that wants them to, or something like that?
If anyone says that, then I will not accept them. If anyone says, I want to stop smoking because it's driving my wife mad, then I will not accept them. It has to come from them. Mm-hmm. It really does.
Have you become adept at checking, for people who are lying to you, people who've just had polo mints on the way in, who are secret smokers still?
Very much so. All
the tricks of the trade.
It's all to do with body language.
Really?
Yes. No, they don't get past me.
No, I'm sure they don't. You've got a steely look about you.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
So people come to you, and you will only take people who say, it's come from me, I want to stop smoking. What's the first... Anyone listening now who wants to stop, can you give them some free advice?
I think the first thing is they need to set a date. You can't just say, I'm going to stop smoking in the next few weeks. You actually have to set a date. And the 1st of January is a good date. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. Or their birthday. Or a specific date in the calendar that's memorable to them. So then they can kind of get ready for that particular date.
I was going to say, why can't you just say do it now?
Well, they're not really prepared for it. I think psychologically they need to set themselves up for it.
Okay.
And once they are, then that's their target date to start from.
And so how do you get ready? Is it all about imagining your life as a non-smoker?
Very much so. What you have to do...
See, I've read the articles. Imagine yourself thin on a beach.
You have to write down the reasons why you want to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Is it for health? Is it because you want your skin to improve? Do you want to save money? It's very important that you write these down because everyone has different reasons for giving up. So that's why you actually have to write it down, what it is that you want to achieve.
Okay. And then pick a date and then follow it through. And if you fall off the wagon?
If you fall off the wagon, if you get it into your mind that falling off the wagon, I work on the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Now, the 80-20 rule is 80% of the time you get it right, 20% of the time you get it wrong. Mm-hmm. And I do this with people that come to see me for weight loss as well. Because if you have the 100%, one cigarette is then going to start you smoking again and you'll be straight off the wagon. So work on the 80-20 rule. And
what do people do? So, for example, you've set 1st of January, I'm not going to smoke. It gets to, say, 9 o'clock in the morning, you might have a cigarette with a cup of coffee. You make your cup of coffee, you are gagging for a cigarette. What do you do instead?
Well, what you have to do is you know that these cravings are going to come. So what you have to do, you have to prepare for them. They're not going to come as a surprise. Now, some people decide to go for a walk, to take up some form of exercise. As I said, these are not surprising, these cravings, so you can prepare for them and have some tasks that are on standby, ready, so that when the craving comes, you can then take part in that particular task.
What do you think about nicotine patches and fake cigarettes?
It could be said that nicotine patches, you're still taking in the nicotine, you're still taking in that particular chemical. And nicotine is actually a stimulant. Far from de-stressing you, it actually does exactly the opposite. So you're still taking in nicotine. It has a relatively good success rate, but you are still using that particular drug. With regards to these electronic cigarettes, they can be effective. I know quite a few people that have successfully given up with these electric cigarettes. But I think the desire to give up, that has to be in place first of all before anything else.
If you're listening to this and you do want to ask David anything while we've still got him here, we've got him here for another few minutes, then do give us a call. It's 020 722 4000, 020 722 4000. And I know you were interested in what our nutritionist Patrick Holford had to say about losing weight, about also the beginning of a new year is a mental time to switch that as well and think, right, this is going to be the year I'm going to be healthier. And we were talking just when Madness was playing about the psychological effects of that and barriers to losing weight.
Yeah, there are many reasons why people can't lose weight. Short-term diets do work, but if there are psychological issues going on in the background, they prevent people from losing weight long-term. And some of these reasons can be quite weird, such as loneliness. Sometimes people eat for punishment. Sometimes people eat for protection. Sometimes for comfort, sometimes for boredom. There's many reasons why people do overeat, and it's not always straightforward. Some people, I treat people in my clinic in Harley Street who've actually had gastric bands fitted, and they still continue to gain weight. One particular client a few years ago used to melt Mars bars and drink Mars bars, and what we found while she was in hypnosis was that she lost her father 7 years ago, and when she was very young, he used to meet her at the school gates and give her a Mars bar. So this was something that was stored in her subconscious, that when she needed comfort, she would eat a Mars bar. And in the present day, when her boyfriend and her had an argument, she would eat a Mars bar and it would give her an emotional lift. So even though she had a gastric band fitted, consciously she wanted to lose weight, but subconsciously she couldn't give up the Mars bars until we did some therapy, and then she was clear of it.
So as well as putting someone under hypnosis, you can then do therapy. You don't then say to her, you probably need to go and see someone to talk about that, and send her elsewhere. You do it all.
I actually do it all, and it's based upon the first 6 years of your life, things that you learn in the first 6 years of your life, which is called learned behavior, and that goes straight into the subconscious part of the brain, the inaccessible bit, the bit behind the locked door, as we call it. And the basis of regression hypnotherapy is to access these files, these folders, as an adult, and see what it was that caused you to have these particular cravings.
It's a lot of pressure, isn't it, on a parent? I've got 2 young boys, but I've got like a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so they are young. But you think, if I think of the things that I do to them and with them really matter, food associations and things like that.
Everything. I mean, for example, if a spider was to walk across, your 1-year-old was sitting in his high chair and a spider walked across the table, what would their reaction be?
Yeah. Well, probably one of joy, actually.
And then you walk into the kitchen, and what do you do?
And I'll scream.
Exactly.
I do think that I've tried not to overreact about bugs and things and spiders, but
And what if they fall over? What do you do if they fall?
I know, you're supposed to laugh, aren't you?
You're supposed to laugh.
I know.
Yeah.
And I don't think I do, and I see other parents do it, and I think I forget. I'm too busy going, oh my God, are you okay?
Even if you're doing that inside, externally, you have to say, you're fine, you're fine.
Yes.
They're learning. The first 6 years of life is absolutely crucial. It really is.
It's BBC London 94.9. Fascinating conversation then with David Samson, a clinical hypnotherapist, helping you to stop smoking in the new year. What else do people come to you and ask you to try and fix? What other problems do they have? Phobias like spiders.
Like spiders, and fear of flying. That's an interesting one.
Oh, yeah.
Because fear of flying isn't that the wings are going to fall off. I've been treating fear of flying for 10 years now, and there's many, many reasons why people have a fear of flying. Sometimes it's they don't like to be in a situation where they're not in control. Sometimes it's a fear of turbulence. Sometimes it's a fear of what happens if the captain puts the seatbelt sign on and they need to go to the loo.
Right.
No, it's common. It's really, really common.
And that seems like quite a simple... a simple fear. You'd think there would be more things to worry about on a plane than that.
But not if you wet yourself when you're in nursery school at the age of 3 and everybody laughed at you.
Yeah.
And deep in your subconscious, there is a folder that's saying, if you're in a situation where you can't get to the loo and you wet yourself, everybody's going to laugh at you. And that's the problem. It's these folders, these really, really early folders.
I can't imagine when you're giving all these examples that in fact there's any human being walking around that doesn't have these hang-ups. We probably don't even know. I've probably got a million of them that I haven't even engaged with.
Everybody has these folders, but it's when something happens in later life to trigger these particular folders. Some of these folders lay dormant forever, but it's when we're in a situation where our subconscious sees danger, it senses danger, and it opens this folder and says to you, you're in danger. We could live the rest of our life without accessing these if we didn't trigger it. Yeah.
I'm hoping not to trigger mine. Thank you, David, for coming in. It's fascinating, actually, looking at your website and looking at actually what happens when you do stop smoking, and seeing like day by day, actually. It does seem that how quickly things can be repaired.
Very much so.
And how quickly nicotine can be eliminated from your body. I think I thought it would take months, really, but it takes 48 hours.
48 hours, that's correct. After 48 hours, all the nicotine is eliminated.
After 72 hours, your breathing becomes easier.
Yeah.
So this is under the heading, what happens when you stop smoking? So maybe this is a good thing to think about if you're focusing on Tuesday, on New Year's Day, and thinking this is how I want to feel. 20 minutes, your blood pressure returns to normal. After 5 years, the risk of lung cancer decreases. 10 to 15 years, the risk of lung cancer returns to normal. Is that true? I'd have thought that if you've done some damage, it would lie dormant.
No, it takes a while. It takes 10 to 15 years, but then the actual risk of lung cancer does return to normal. But as you say, there are things that happen within minutes, things that happen within days and things that happen within years. So you can actually physically feel yourself getting better when you stop smoking.
Mm-hmm. I've done so many times that thing of just, I suppose, and I wasn't prepared for it. Like you say, you have to prepare for it. You have to set a date. Like I would have a cigarette in the morning after smoking all the night before and be so disgusted with myself. I'd cut them all up and throw them in the bin.
And then,
to go and buy
what did you do? You went and bought another packet, exactly.
Yeah, I've been all those things, and I think I sort of thought, you know, when I think I sort of started at school to be cool, and then I thought, oh, when I'm 40, I won't be smoking. I mean, I am 40 now, and I'm not smoking, thank goodness. I thought when I'm 30, I won't. I don't see myself smoking when I'm 30. And then 30 comes, and you're sitting in a pub, and you are smoking. And I did wonder what would be the life change that would happen in order for me to completely stop. And I think, luckily for me, it was having children. I just absolutely did not want to have any smoke in the house with children. And luckily, it has been quite easy for me because I don't think I was addicted.
Do you think smoking is an addiction or a habit?
For me, I do think it was a habit. Yeah. But then people who are addicted, and I don't know if you want to contribute to this conversation, it's 0207 224 2000. When I used to say to people, I'm not addicted, they'd be like, yes, you are. You're just not admitting it.
But let me put a different angle on this. If you're on a long haul flight, 12 hours to LA, are you tearing the walls of the plane down?
No, I think I smoked from boredom, for something to do with my hands, because at one point I thought it looked cool. These were the things, these were the reasons why I smoked.
Primarily, smoking is a habit. It's an association. It's a glass of red wine in one hand, a cigarette in the other.
Seeing a certain friend.
Seeing a certain friend.
For me, it was seeing a certain friend.
Cup of coffee.
It's like, right, where are your fags?
Cup of coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other, or you've got to make the phone call to the difficult client, and having the cigarette in your hand will help. Or you've had a good day.
So what do you do then if it's seeing a certain friend? You can't cut that friend out of your life.
No, but you know before you get there what's going to happen, don't you?
Yeah.
So prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Oh, you make it sound so easy.
It isn't easy. No, it isn't. But this isn't coming as a shock. You're about to go and visit your friend. Yeah. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So why don't you phone her in advance and tell her?
And say, don't offer me one.
Don't offer me. And that's another tip for stopping smoking. Don't take cigarettes from people in the pub or from friends. Only smoke your own. Mm-hmm. So make a habit of not accepting cigarettes from other people.
All fascinating stuff. I hope it's helpful to you if you're wanting to stop smoking. If you need any professional advice, David Samson is your man. He's a clinical hypnotherapist from Harley Street. Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
It's been really fascinating talking to you. And if it is one of your New Year's resolutions, good luck with it. I hope that some of the advice has been helpful. Make a list, prepare ahead. If all else fails, go and see David. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, and a Happy New Year to you.
A Happy New Year to you too.